So this retreat, the theme has been the fourth foundation of mindfulness, and just began yesterday. Ajahn Pasanno just began readings on the section on the 7 factors of awakening, and there was part of the reading that really struck me, and it's funny how sometimes things land or you strike the heart, because on a certain level it's sort of like, duh, of course, but I felt it was really important, and was that just the what we attend to or think about in terms of like nourishing and denourishing, or starving. Both the hindrances and those things that are obstructive, things that are difficult, and then the things that are the factors of awakening, so that what we direct attention to, and what we direct attention to and how we direct attention either nourishes or denourishes, or feeds or starves, so that that unskillful attention or unwise reflection on the subhanimitta, the image, perception of the attractive, of the beautiful, stimulates desire. It's just as natural, in the same way or say, like, you think about food a lot, well, you're going to get hungry. This is quite natural, but then also the same skillful attention or wise reflection on the unattractive, say the opposite of the attractive, is going to decrease the sensual desire, the whole desire system, and the paying attention to the giving undue attention, unwise attention to things that are one is averse to, or upset by, angered by, it is going to nourish ill will, aversion. I would say, whereas the giving wise attention to those things which and skillful attention to the aspects of kindness and a sense of compassion, paying attention to the things that are pleasing, are going to they're going to denourish ill will and aversion. So it's how we direct attention, and the same with, of course, with sloth and torpor, the restlessness and worry, doubt. What are we paying attention to? What are we giving reflection, or reflecting on, dwelling on, with our thoughts and moods? And are we nourishing that which is skillful, or are we nourishing that which is unskillful? So that on a certain level, it's incredibly simple and straightforward. But so often, we just identify with our thoughts, our moods, our feelings so strongly that we end up getting entangled and caught within them. And in the same way that giving wise attention to the factors of awakening, to mindfulness, awareness, being alert, present, rather than being distracted, giving attention to the factors of awakening, mindfulness, Dhammavicaya, the contemplation and investigation of Dhamma, is a factor of awakening. The effort is a factor of awakening. So the things that bring up energy, that bring up a sense of interest, say, rather than dullness or distraction or boredom, because we can, depends on how we're feeling. We can easily just everything's boring and everything's hopeless, but it doesn't give you energy. It's not a factor of awakening. It's you want to nourish awakening factors rather than things that are obstructive to that process of awakening. So mindfulness, investigation of Dhamma, energy, effort, tranquility, joy. Rather in terms of sequence, and joy, piti, comes after energy, because it's an energizing quality. And then from piti, and in terms of sequencing, piti, passaddhi is a tranquility, a settling, soothing, easeful, and samadhi, equanimity. Those are the 7 factors of awakening. But I think what I feel is important is that the paying attention to how we are nourishing or denourishing them. And these are not random mental states. They thrive on attention, whether it's the skillful or the unskillful, whether it's a factor of awakening or whether it's a hindrance and an obstacle. We're feeding it. As remember an image that Ajahn Chah used. It's like and in Thailand, especially northeast Thailand, in the days that I was living there and Ajahn Chah was growing up and living there, then having pets like dogs and cats was not a thing, and not something that was say seen as a good thing. So it's like and especially in the monastery, there's like cats and dogs can be real pain in the neck. So he said, he said it's like, if you feed a cat, feed a dog, they're going to just keep coming around, and that is so that especially looking at it as something not desirable, then you don't want to be feeding them. So in the same way that like our moods and our thoughts, if we feed them, nourish them, that's what keeps coming back. So we want to pay attention to the quality of those moods, of those thoughts, and be nourishing that which is really supportive of our growth in Dhamma, and always the in the discourse on the mindfulness of breathing, the Anapanasati Sutta, there is a sequence of where the Buddha is saying that the four foundations of mindfulness, when they're cultivated and perfected, the four foundations of mindfulness fulfill the seven factors of awakening. And of course, the Buddha is saying, well, when the mindfulness of breathing is cultivated and perfected, it fulfills the four foundations of mindfulness. When the four foundations of mindfulness are fulfilled and perfected, then they fulfill the seven factors of awakening. When the seven factors of awakening are fulfilled, then it fulfills true knowledge and deliverance. And so again, this is another way of saying this is what is nourished, this is what is fed. And so that to be nourishing this process of awakening, and so that that cultivation of mindfulness, and in its, and of course, there's the developing of mindfulness is always central to the Buddhist path. And that quality of knowing and conscious awareness is within it is the seeds of awakening, and in particular that conscious awareness that is not entangled with the the sense of self, sense of, and of course one of the say the kind of the manifestations of this kind of obsession with self and me and mine is just this. Of course, then it branches off into sense desire, branches off into ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubt, just goes round and around in kind of unwholesome, unskillful, unproductive ways. But when that quality of mindfulness, as is the first factor of awakening, of the Bojjhanga, then as that conscious awareness is attended to and nurtured and nourished, it nourishes the other wholesome qualities in a very natural way. So that investigation of Dhamma, that interest in reflection, interest in contemplation, interest in understanding the nature of the Dhamma, the willingness to put forth effort, and the kind of a kind of well-being and delight and exhilaration that comes from that being aware and present and inclining to Dhamma. There is an exhilaration there, the piti, the joy. And of course, as one is more and more aware and attentive and nourishing that awareness, then the sense of inclination to refining our experience, and it becomes more settled, becomes more tranquil, and tranquility and ease and kind of a relaxing into the present moment become more predominant. And then that nourishes this samadhi, settling, a calm steadiness that is settles into the heart. And equanimity and evenness is the final factor. So but it's nurtured and nourished and fed with mindfulness, conscious awareness, being present and clear. So that as we, and of course that in the Thai forest tradition, or Ajahn, many of the teachers, Ajahn Chah, certainly, there's always this emphasis on the quality of a Buddho, a Puru, one who knows. That one, of course, one puts effort into the techniques and the practices, but the essence is always this quality of knowing, a conscious awareness of presence, because that's the heart of it. And it undermines the that whole agenda, either the agendas of, say, unskillful attention to the hindrances or obstructions or difficulties, but also it declines away from just the fundamental roots of that are nourishing and nurturing the whole round of dukkha. Think of the in particular, say, think of Sagaya Ditti, that identification, identity with with embodied being, and the identification, identity with form, with feeling, with perception, with mental formations, with consciousness. And that's something that we keep affirming through our attention, say unwise attention to that, and in the same way that wise attention to be being the knowing, being that knowing presence, conscious awareness, that fundamentally undermines and denourishes that obsession with identification. Sakaya Ditti Sila Bhatta Paramasa. The attachment to practice and precept. Just thinking of a pure, like, in order to be pure, I've got to do like this. In order to be pure, I've got to be like that. If I haven't done like this, I'm going to be impure and stained. The Sila Bhatta Paramasa is not understanding that it's just the quality of awareness and mindfulness and that conscious awareness is the way out. It's the way through. And same with vicikicca, the doubt. And these are the three main fetters to our in our experience of this human condition that keeps us suffering, keeps us entangled. And paying attention to how are we feeding that process, and how can we denourish it. I like that. It's a clunky kind of word, but I kind of like it. That denourishing. That process of entanglement, and it comes back to this quality of the one who knows, of the puru, the conscious awareness, being the knowing, and on a certain level, it's just so simple and straightforward, that it's easy to overlook. It's got to be more than this. It's got to be more intellectually stimulating and more. I should be able to write a whole treatise on it. But that's the and so, overlook it and just go back to entanglement. Yeah, okay, now I'm happy. I'm entangled and complicated. So it's just this sense of recognizing the how that works, and gaining trust, gaining confidence. The other day I was listening to sort of along the same kind of lines. I was listening to a sutta. It's from Anguttara 6, sutta number 10. And it's Mahanama, who was a cousin of the Buddha's. Mahanama asking the Buddha, how does one who has I can't remember the idiom that was used. One who has arrived at the teaching, understood the Dhamma. How do they normally dwell? And the Buddha uses he explains it, and so how, say one. So what he's referring to is say one who has arrived at the teaching, understood the Dhamma, as one who has arrived at that first, at least that first level of awakening, and the Buddha basically goes through the six reflections, anusati. Saying, normally we would think of the heart would dwell recollecting the Buddha, kind of delighting in that recollection of the Buddha. Okay, the Buddha is awakened. He is a refuge. And not so much as a personal quality or as a personal kind of refuge, but more as the principle of awakening. It's, again, embodiment of conscious awareness, embodiment of wisdom, of purity, of compassion. One who is present, and in recollecting wisely reflecting, giving wise attention to recollection of the Buddha as an awakened being, or of awakening itself. They would find a delight in the Dhamma, a sense of delight in the Dhamma, and when they find delight in the meaning, delight in the Dhamma, in the truth, and their mind is straight. There's a really nice idiom. The mind is straight, the heart is straight. And sort of, it's like it's straightened out its complications and its twists and turns, and experiences a sense of of joy, finds delight in the Dhamma, finds joy in the Dhamma, finds joy in truth. And then it's a source of the mind, the heart settling. And so it's and then, of course, the recollection of the heart turning towards the Dhamma, turning towards Sangha, and again, these are not personalized properties, but the Dhamma is the expression of truth. Sangha is the expression of a life well lived. And the recollection and the heart turning towards virtue. Is that recognition that virtue, integrity, is a beautiful way to live. And generosity. And there's that recollection of that generosity is the way to, like, living open-handed, unselfish, giving, sharing, is how we build connection with our fellow human beings. It's also how we there's a series of discourses where the Buddha talks of its opposite sense of the giving up of stinginess, giving up of let's say the obstruction of stinginess and being, that opens the doorway to to mind settling, to jhanas, concentration, to refined states of consciousness, to liberation. That sense of self-serving, selfishness, and the mind not being willing to share and give, that drops away, and has to drop away if we want the heart to really settle, refine, relinquish. And the recollection of the devas, and recollection of the devas is not so much thinking externally so much in terms of these beings here, these beings there, wanting to be reborn in some heavenly realm somewhere, but it's almost or it's how it's talked about is the sense that there are these beings in the world, but the cause of their being reborn in these various refined states of being is because of their their wholesome qualities, their saddha, of their faith, of their virtue, of of their learning, of their generosity, of their wisdom. And then the recollection is those qualities that are the cause for them taking birth in these refined states of being, are qualities that I have also. I've cultivated that. I've cultivated faith. I've cultivated virtue. I've cultivated learning and I've cultivated generosity and wisdom. So there's a confidence in the qualities of being. So that recollection of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, of virtue, of generosity, of the devas, these are pointing to qualities of being that we've all cultivated, and we all and have a fundamental root in the sense of just a basic awareness, the quality of knowing, conscious attention, being willing to relinquish the obsessive nature of identification with the I, me, mine program, identification with our thoughts of ill will, aversion, of desire and attachment, of confusion, and that is just it's an act of attention, and that sense of yoniso manasikara, that wisely attending to that which is really beneficial. And something that we know and understand because we can feel it. What's it feel like when we attend to our desires and attachments? What's it feel like when you attend to our kind of confusion and or our dullness? It doesn't feel so wonderful. And within ourselves, we all have those other qualities of faith, of energy, of discernment, of a recollection, of just the understanding of this process of arising and ceasing, impermanence. We can discern clearly that within that we can let go, we can relinquish, we can dwell in stillness, we can dwell in clarity. And so it's just giving encouragement to ourselves to nourish what is truly beneficial, and to not feed, not nourish, to denourish the obstructive. And the fruits are experienceable here now. That's the nature of the Dhamma. It's apparent here and now. It's a timeless opportunity for us. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening.